doesn't have a... Well, actually, he has a fairly significant troop on the ground. He's very, very goon-focused. Not really a bunch of zealots at all. Getting those Templar archives out, so we are going to be seeing some high Templar on the way. Still running around with those Corsairs, using them fairly effectively. Com, focusing very, very heavily on the Hydras. Had speed on the Zovi so they can spot everywhere. Ooh, Sirs flying right into a group of Mutas. Retreating before anything can be done to them, though. Templar on the way. Now, I'm not seeing any Mutas, so... We're going to see whether BeSt actually gets those High Templars picked off or anything. Oh, loses some Sirs, stops migrating completely. Those Hydras do have weapons 1. They are going to be thinking of going for this third base. There are a couple of High Templars. I'm not quite sure if they have Storm yet. There are a lot of cannons alongside those goons. Those Hydras are going to have to be pushing down this ramp into that base. Well, I think that's enough cannons, enough goons, especially with those High Templar. They are going to be enough. Those High Templar are in a fairly defensive position. There are no Mutas in there. Just try to pick them off. A lot of Hydras, though. Ooh, one more Sir that was running around for a scout is going to try to do this. But now Columbia's actually going to go for this. A lot of Hydras taking out almost all the cannons right away. 2 cannons away. 1 Storm coming off. Another second Storm catching a lot of the Hydras melting like crazy to those Storms. A bunch of Dragoons into position. All those Hydras are going to be forced to push back up. More cannons being morphed in. But to see the Goons are still in a fairly large number. Some of the Hydras still staying in that position. Columbia being pushed back a little bit. Not too many Zealots, and they don't have speed, so they can't really help pushing this back. But BeSt still not in a perfect position. He needs to get those High Templars. Need to get more Storm going because he doesn't really have too many troops on the ground. He has still those Zealots, but doesn't speed in those. Even more Hydras being reinforced very, very heavily and very quickly by Com. Going to continue with this push. 2 cannons morphing in, not quite there yet. An Archon actually morphing, and a High Templar waiting for a Storm. Nothing but Dragoons actually fighting off these Hydras. We're going to see whether BeSt actually manages to pull a Storm out of nowhere, trying to win this. Com actually splitting his Hydras pretty nicely overall, so Storm won't be able to hit all of them. These Hydras actually pushing down. Nexus is in jeopardy. There's one single Archon that can't even get through his problem and tries to defend against these Hydras. Finally going to get close enough to start attacking these Hydras. Hydras still attacking all over the place. Dragoons attacking those Hydras. Hydras just preventing 1 Storm getting off, but not hitting too much. Second Storm getting off again, not hitting too much. Another Archon being morphed in. Hydra is still endangering this position. Some Zealots coming to help defend. The probe is actually being pulled off the line. 2 Zealots, meanwhile, just going to hold back these Hydras. BeSt has some Corsairs flying around all over the place, but now just an Archon and a Zealot to help defend this alongside one single probe that's probably waiting for a chance to put cannons down. But beautiful pressure there by Com. BeSt actually cannoning up his natural expansion at the point, fearing that his new third is going to get completely penetrated because it's not mining at all, it's just sitting there doing absolutely nothing, being worthless for the most part. So going goon heavy, not turning out very good for BeSt in the end. He got a lot of those goons melted. That really didn't help him out as much as he was hoping. And now the Hydras continually threatening this third base. They are just going to completely sit in there. BeSt not even going to bother at the moment. Getting a Dark Templar out, but there is speed on those Overlords, so if the Overlords come in, they're going to be able to do a lot of damage. That third goes down, Nexus go down, so BeSt now in a pretty bad position. He possibly could have held that if he had more Zealots on the ground, had more Storms quicker, because he was focusing on a lot of troop rather than taking up. He was focusing on getting a lot of Dragoons on the ground before he really started taking up the Templar attack. Still in a pretty bad position. Actually, not much gas mining going on for Com. He's just focusing on heavy Hydras at the moment. Not going to expand anytime soon, I'm thinking. Just keep on getting those Hydras. Some Dark Templar now in the field for BeSt. BeSt, of course, tried to take that third very quickly, and if he had managed to hold it, he would have been in a fairly good position, but now his natural expansion going to be threatened. He does have some Zealots on the field. I assume they have speed. Yeah, they do have speed now. There's a lot of cannons and some Storms and Archons as well. The Dark Templar, if he manages to go around and do actually any sort of significant damage, that will be pretty good. He's going to try to sneak into the natural expansion, which I assume is pretty well defended. Com is actually taking a third at this point. The Mineral only going to start off by losing several drones. Drones going to try to pull off 3 kills so far, 4 kills for the Dark Templar. Meanwhile, BeSt actually thinking of pushing out, thinking of repositioning himself so he can try to take that Mineral only again, but really having to run up that ramp, not really good. Going to pick up 1 single Hydras. They were just standing around there acting more as a scout than anything else. Zealot's going to push out alongside an Archon, and a lot of High Templar, though. A lot of High Templar. There's going to be a lot of Storms, so BeSt is going to be able to clear this up. This is more the kind of army composition he needed right from the start. A lot more Zealots to push back those Hydras, and a lot more Storm. Just storm the crap out of them. Having a few Dragoons there to help support is a good idea, but when you have way too many, it's just not going to be able to do enough damage against those Hydras. Dark Templar are going to get picked off at this point. He's going to be running into a corner. Does get picked off. There are those Overlords on the field alongside those Hardalisks. Dragoons, Zealots, Army, just running around for BeSt. He's going to be taking his natural expansion back. Does have, what was that? I think overall 6 or 7 gateways producing. Going heavily Zealots alongside High Templars. That was of a robotics facility alongside Observer just in case some Lurkers come into play with those Hydras. of course, very, very possible that lurkers are going to be coming into play for Calm. I'm not really seeing him morphing. No, never mind. There you go. There are your lurkers. Doesn't have a lot of them. And BeSt still getting a lot of Dragoons alongside his army, just trying to have a overall mixed army composition, which is never a bad thing. Just the last time he was so low on Zealots, he would just not be able to push back any force. Does have a lot of High Templar, which seem to be leading his army, which could be a mistake just in case he gets those picked off. He's actually just running around during the middle, trying to reposition himself, trying not to get caught or boxed in, which is actually what could happen because he's running his force right towards out. Never mind, he's actually going to go for the upper left-hand base with his entire troop. Meanwhile, Calm is actually going to counterattack and force a cancel of both those cannons. That third for BeSt is going to get lost again. Unless Calm pushes back, he's not going to do. He pushes half of his army back towards that base. We're going to see what the BeSt actually managed. He does have observers on the field. Not seeing any overlords to take out those observers, but that small ramp not really allowing too much. One storm goes off. Zealots try to block off. A second storm goes off, hitting a lot of Hydralisks. Not enough reinforcements coming in for Calm. Overall, it does have the lurkers in play, but still that observer in the area is going to help him out. Those Hydras going down. I think this base is going to be fairly heavily threatened there. That one single sunken colony left. Still more reinforcements coming up, but the Zealots, Dragoons, High Tempo, or in very large amount. More storms coming up, catching the lurkers as well. Beautiful storm, beautiful storms overall. One single, two lurkers still alive, but the Dragoons are going to be able to range those lurkers pretty well. Dragoons are, of course, fairly effective against those lurkers. Going to storm yet another lurker with an Archon in play. Hydra's going to be running up the ramp. Going to get stormed just as they do so. Going to be forced to run right back down. Dragoons are just going to hold him off. Going to try to hold him on that ramp. Even more reinforcements for BeSt are going to actually be coming in. He's not taking out the base, though. I'm not seeing him taking out the base. Doing fairly decent army damage while Calm is just funneling forces up this ramp. Does have some reinforcement coming in, which is actually going to meet a lot of Zealots here right below the ramp. Oh, Zealots and Dragoons are coming. The Archon did go down. Not seeing any High Templar to help support these goons. The last of these Dragoons are actually going to go down, but at a heavy cost. BeSt still does have some goons. He has to take this base out. He has to take out both of those hatcheries to make this attack completely worthwhile, because he did lose a lot of troops, and he's actually funneling even more Zealots towards this location. He is going to be able to take this BeSt out, but really to be able to afford this all, he's going to have to do a lot of damage, meeting even more Hydras with those Zealots. Getting microed, getting his bum microed against by Calm. Actually going to pincer in some Hydras if he manages to. Dragoons on one side, Zealots on the other side, Dragoons from all sides. Oh, poor Hydra's going to stand there going, no! Even Zealots from the bottom coming in and trying to kill him. But the upper left-hand base has been lost. So Calm losing one of his gas bases is very important. BeSt actually playing beautifully here. Actually now going to go for him. They only actually managed to penetrate this. Calm did do a counterattack with one of his Hydras, did take out BeSt's third, but BeSt actually living the good life, meanwhile just funneling Zealots so heavily. Drones alongside Hydras fighting and really not really helping Calm, that he went so heavily on the Hydras, had some lurkers to support. He does have some pretty good defensive grid around his natural expansion, but he's lost his mineral only alongside his second mining base, and he GG's once he sees the amount of forces that are running right at him. And man, the defending champion, early pressure, I mean, never mind my predictions. Christ. Calm just getting completely, well, okay, I wouldn't say completely owned. He had the advantage, but then allowing his upper left-hand base, and after that, just getting that destroyed, completely allowed BeSt to dominate after that point. Beautiful play by BeSt at the correct moment. Whew, I gotta say, taking up late, try to get an early army, and then just after that, allowing him to really get that macro up. Even on two bases, he didn't really ever establish his third. Still beautiful game by BeSt. He's going to move on to the winner's match. And we're going to see, he's going to definitely face a Terran there, no matter what. So BeSt could actually be on the road to 2-0ing this group, because say what you want about BeSt and how he's not playing at his best anymore, ooh, pun, but his PVT has always been pretty much immaculate, absolutely beautiful. Well, okay, maybe immaculate, too strong a word, but always great. So, back in the MSL, guys, this is amazing. Wrenching out. GG, guys. Thanks for listening.